Hey everybody, it's me, Edward Jones, back with a new video, knowing right from left. Oftentimes, I've seen the phrase right winger thrown around in the media, and like in videos and articles, and I've seen it used primarily as a pejorative to describe people um, who think a certain way. But very rarely have I seen the same. I've seen very rarely have I seen pejoratives for people who think, who fall on the side of the left, leftists. Um, Now, I'm pretty sure we all know of different. We know of conservative and liberal, which those are cultural differences. Those aren't political. They're cultural. In the sense that conservatives, they focus more on preserving traditional institutions like one, the family. Um, and from that, you look at things with uh, like community centers, businesses, churches, like religious institutions, things like that, and seeing that there's actually a benefit to preserving these things because they add such a great value to society. With liberals, there's a focus on change because because some things need to change as time goes by, whether it be with what things men and women can do, certain thoughts about style, things like that. It's good for the two to actually work together because they actually depend on one another. You know, I'll say conservatism maybe out for the long haul, but I would say that liberalism actually kind of makes the journey a little bit more interesting. And I mean, a lot of times for the better. It can make a lot of changes that can be done are actually good, and they should be it should be discussed. They should be talked about with honesty, with respect to one another, um, and go from there. You know, certain things should change and certain things should stay the same. And it's just a matter of between liberals and conservatives talking about amongst themselves, and through civil discourse to figure out what those things are. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually very healthy. That's better than going to that's better than what's going on right now, which I'm about to get into in a second. Now, with that being said, putting liberal and conservative aside, there's something greater that I think is actually something that should be considered. Um, when you're looking at right versus left, from what I've gathered from history, from videos I've watched, from interactions with other people, right deals with individuals, left deals with collectives. Now, what's the difference between the two? Well, obviously, individuals are you and I. We're individuals. We have our own thoughts, our own desires, our own tastes, our own drives, our own ambitions, our own interests, and and so we have to be responsible for those things. So we also have our own liberty. We have our own rights. Like the right to speak your mind. The right to have property, the right to be able to defend your property, um, the right to trade with others. Through commerce or through trading ideas, things like that. Individuals have that right, and that's good. That's a belief that I think it's good on its own and should be upheld. And any society that says that that it wants to be free and it wants because you're not going to be able to be free unless you have individuals operating freely, operating on their own. Uh, with collectives, there's a focus on groups. So there's a focus on like team red and team blue. Now there are times when you do have groups of people, but the thing with collectivism is there is no acknowledgement of their individual members. It's all we need to add more to we need to add to our numbers, or we need to strengthen our numbers so that we have more power, or more control, more authority over what goes on around us. The problem with that is, as someone who is an individual, a lot of times those goals that are set by collectives come at the cost of individual liberty. It come at the cost of autonomy. Um, Basically, if you're part of this group, everything you do must be for this group. Can't be outside. Nothing. You can't be doing anything that's outside of the group. Otherwise, you're going to be looked at as being subversive. Well, actually, I'm not sure if leftists use the term subversive, since they seem to be the ones doing a lot of doing the subverting in many instances. But they they're quick to point out anyone who's sticking out. So, like, for example, I'm not wearing the hat for this video, but like I'll be Daniel Kuhn for certain videos I do. Like, I called a Kuhn for a video I did years ago. I believe it's when I was talking about how I agreed with Booker T. Washington, where he said that blacks should focus their attention on economic advancements rather than political advancements, because if they focus on trades, focus on businesses, they can have greater control over what goes on around them, and you know better better themselves through trade, rather than trying to inject themselves in politics. And I believe I was called the Coon for that, for thinking differently from the conventional thought that political power is needed to propel the black community in the United States. So instead of changing my mind because I wanted to stay a part of the group, or I wanted to maintain the group think, I said, screw that. I'll just be Daniel Kuhn. Anytime I do a video where I'm talking about something that seems to be something that goes against the grain, I'll be Daniel Kuhn. So because it's not enough that I am a Kuhn for having a different opinion. I might as well look the part. So put the hat on. I'll be Daniel Kuhn. I'll share my opinion as controversial, no matter how controversial it is, and that's it. I'll continue to be an individual. While many who would out of fear of being kicked out of the collective, they'll step in line. They'll do as the. And it's interesting because there's not a consideration for the individual members, but there seems to always be this some type of council at the top, or these people who are calling the shots. They're the ones who are make up all these rules, or saying how the group must operate. Those members of that group will listen to them and fall in line, and they'll chew out or tell on or anyone who seems to want to stick out. Anyone who seems to want to get off the reservation, leave or get off the plantation, in the sense of what I was talking about. So those kind of things, collectives, are detrimental to individual liberty, because in order to maintain group strength, in order to maintain what they see as being group unity, but really it really is just it's cutting out dissent. They sacrifice all those things that acknowledge the fact that it's made up of individuals. It's made up of people who don't all think the same. They all probably don't look the same, or they may look the same, but they definitely don't have the same taste. Even if they have the same taste, they have differences in intensity of that taste. So there's differences abound, but that stuff is sacrificed. That stuff is thrown saying it's not needed because it's not good for it's not needed for the good of the collective. And that's what you're dealing with when you look at whenever you hear of the left. Remember, you're dealing with collectivists. You're dealing with people who are not paying attention to individual liberty. You're not paying attention to individual responsibility. You're not paying attention to the needs and the wants and desires of the individual members of that group. The only focus is on the group strength. And that's a lot of times what they're focused on is just power. They want more power. For what? Who knows? Because even when they have power, they're never satisfied with it. They have to keep going after some other group to take what they have to add to themselves. Now, normally on an individual basis, we just call those people thieves, call them criminals, and we do away with them. But with groups, they have to be you can't really just tackle them head on. You got to try to understand them so that you can figure out what is it that this group consists of, and understand what's their driving motivation. Or their driving motivation is actually get power. So I guess in that case, now it just comes down to, are you going to give in to what give in to what they want, which is power, or are you going to stand your ground and stand up for the rights of the individual? That's another thing. Individuals can negotiate. They can they can compromise. With collectives, it always seems to be that there is no negotiation. It's what we want, or is either give us what we want or we take it. And I guess you have to make a decision at that point whether you're going to give them what they want or you're going to make a stand. Sometimes I have to fight, and sometimes unfortunately fight back. But a lot of times that's necessary to maintain individual liberty. And a lot of times, with members of certain groups, there is that struggle. By diving into collectivism, am I doing what I actually want? Is this what I want? Do I want to? How bad do I want to be a part of this group? Am I willing to sacrifice my autonomy? Am I willing to sacrifice my individuality to be a part of this group? That's a question a lot of people who are in these collectives have to ask themselves. If they can't do it, then their best bet is to get out of it, to leave, and join themselves with like-minded individuals who they can actually team up with. Because I think that's a misconception about individuals, that they can't work well with others. They can work well with others. They negotiate with one another. Well, it helps to actually have common goals in mind, so that they can actually work towards that goal, but work with respect to the individual members and what their rights are. So you can't just tell someone that I'm taking your resources to put it towards this goal that we have. No, you say, hey, we have this goal. We see that you have this resources. Would you mind? Do you want to trade, or would you be willing to donate it to help us get to this goal? And that way, then you have negotiation amongst the individuals within the group, and that's good. But with collectivists, it's no negotiation. It's coercion or aggression, and that's seem to be how they operate. And that's what we're seeing. That's what we're seeing right now with all these many leftists. Currently, they're showing their hand. You can't appease them. They want power, and you have to. I guess everyone has to make a decision on their own as to whether they're going to go along with their plan and give them what they want, or are they going to take a stand and fight as best they can, or not really fight as best they can, but fight overall and recognize what they're dealing with is something that does not want to negotiate, does not want to play well with others. It wants power, and is also willing to sacrifice its individual members in order to obtain that power. And usually they do it pretty quickly when they get what they want. They're quick to point out those who they seem to ask too many questions, about what the group's goal is. They're quick to weed them out, and people who are part of that group can be very careful, So, in short, that's why I align myself with individualism. That's why I'm on the right. That's why I guess I would say I'm a extreme right winger. Not necessarily. Basically, I like to be on my own. Now, I like to be part of groups as well. I can join a group, but I still have my own well-being in mind whenever I'm joining in with a group or with a company or something, or a family or anything like that. Because I will respect their rights, so I would like them to respect my rights as well. But that's my video. Tell me what you think. Do you think do you agree with what I'm saying about left and right? Do you believe this actually is an individual versus collective dynamic, or do you think it's something else? Please share your thoughts. I'd be happy to see what you guys have to say. If you like, share, and subscribe. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button. Also, hit the bell, and so you can stay up to date with new videos. And if you enjoy what you see, look forward to new videos and check out my older videos. They're pretty interesting things I talk about. If you want to donate to the channel, which you're free to do so, just go to my homepage on YouTube, look for the Give Up That Cheese button, and you'll take you to PayPal. Donate any amount you would like. Any gripes, complaints, send me a PM. I'll see what I can do to address them. That's my video, knowing right from left. I'm Edward Jones. You guys take care, stay safe, and God bless.